Oh, Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love, thou dost in us command. We see the rising fair, dear land. The true north, strong and free, and stand on guard. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, oh, Canada. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada.
When does that crack come into play for you?
On September 11th.
So
95-70 game. Hold on.
No,
so September 11th.
I'm not letting you get away with this.
Penelli Financial Partners Charity Golf Tournament at Hardy Park. Join us at 95-70 game. All proceeds benefit the Autism Society SF area. There will be a $10,000 hole-in-one contest, an auction with some great memorabilia, and a chance to hit some balls at the iconic TPC Hardy Park with some of us from 95-70 game. Learn more at sfautismsociety.org. Again, that is 9/11.
You're down bad right now, so just look at me.
I'm not down bad.
No.
Oh, I'm fine.
Hands on the
on
desk.
fire.
Hands on the desk.
I'm on
Look me in the
fire.
eye. Look me in the eye.
What?
Look me in the eye. Paint this tapestry of success that you're proposing Trey Lance does. If I
Sit down so we can see you in the
pitch
camera.
this to
We can't see you in the
Netflix,
frame.
they're not approving this movie. Explain
What
to me what
movie?
you think's happening here.
What do I think's happening?
Like, re-pitch
No.
this Trey Lance CFL
I don't think it's happening at all.
concoction.
If Trey Lance does not make the 49ers roster.
Oh, now it's okay.
That's what I said from the get-go, but you got lost in the sauce because your mind can't open up the thought here because you think the CFL is such a poorly run league. It's been around for many, many years, and a lot of guys have bounced in the CFL. Listen, if Trey Lance doesn't make this roster.
No, a lot of people started in the CFL 30 years ago.
They did. Okay,
Warren
that's fine.
Moon was
That's fine.
1978.
That's fine. Some guys go to the XFL, they get a job in the NFL as a backup. Who
One
knows?
guy, yes.
Okay? I'm just saying, if Trey Lance does not make the 49ers roster, which is not a guarantee, he can still be QB2, QB3. Everything's on the table. We have no idea. All I'm saying is, and I know Rob's stats on fire Guerrera will agree with me, that the worst thing in the world may not be playing in the CFL for 2 years and reinventing himself and coming back into the NFL.
Yeah, if he has no other options, then yes.
That's the G League. He needs reps. He needs to play. You want to go play for the Arizona Cardinals and get killed? You'll be out the league quicker than you will be. You know what I'm saying? You go to some poorly run franchise, you may be out of the league altogether.
Bonte, those are all your only options might be other poorly ran franchises, and so you have to take what you can get. Like I don't say that you're going to go to the CFL. Be unbelievably wildly successful, and now you come back and you're a desirable commodity to where a winning team is going to stake their future on. Excuse me for being a little hesitant to wrap both arms around this dream.
I know. I'm just saying it's an idea. You don't have to be open to it. Rob, stats on fire, Guerrera.
I'm hungry and getting lightheaded, but I didn't know I was going to go that lightheaded.
Can our guest talk? He's been at home for 7 minutes. What's up? What's up, Rob?
Are you out of your football-loving mind? What are we talking about here?
Thank you.
Trey Lance going to the CFL doesn't help Trey Lance. His problem is that he needs to adjust to the NFL. So going to the CFL doesn't help him because he's not in the NFL.
Why not? It's a pass-happy league. He needs to learn how to pass, right? His pocket presence are awful.
Learn how to pass.
His pocket presence is awful right now, Rob.
This is insane to me. Do we realize that Johnny Manziel, Mr. 0 seconds of film watching, got twice as many starts in the league as Trey Lance?
He did.
Marcus Russell got 6 times as many starts in the league. And Sam freaking Darnold has gotten 13 times as many starts in the league as Trey Lance.
The arm talent.
We're running him out of the league.
It's just we're not. No, Rob. We're not running him out of the league. We're not doing that. You guys keep wrapping your hands around the CFL and running him out the league. I'm saying this guy needs to play. I would rather see him play in the CFL and have success than say labor around a sorry-ass team like the Arizona Cardinals to where you're going to get killed and you have no hope and you're going to depreciate as a quarterback. That's what I'm saying. It's just an idea. It's an open-minded thought because what does Trey Lance need to do right now, Rob? He needs to play.
Bonte, it's a last resort.
Is it a last resort?
Yes,
might
because
be the best
Joshua
resort.
Dobbs started a game last year.
It might be the best resort.
But hold on. Are you saying that he's so bad on the 49ers that they have to get rid of him and pay $10 million to do it? Like, what are we talking about?
They may have to. They may have to. Would you not?
If he goes out.
Is Sam Darnold QB2 right now? At this moment, is Sam Darnold QB2 right now?
He shouldn't be.
He shouldn't be. I agree. But is he not? Did he not look better to you on Sunday?
Well, hold on, Steve, but we do this thing with the 49ers where we only compare quarterbacks on the 49ers to other quarterbacks on the 49ers, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, we have to keep Jimmy Garoppolo because he's been better than Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard. That's not the standard, right? What did Sam Darnold do that was so great? They didn't even score any freaking points. He hit one pass to Ronnie Bell. The rest of the time,
No, he had a couple passes. Come on, man. He had a couple passes. That was nice. I'm not a Sam Darnold fan, but he had a couple nice passes.
And so did Trey.
Trey Lance threw a lot of poor passes.
And
the first 3 drives were awful, and on 3 of the next drives, he almost threw 2 interceptions. And I'm the biggest Trey Lance fan in this market, Rob. I love Trey Lance.
Sam almost threw an interception too. He threw it into triple coverage, and then Kyle pulled him before he could do any more stupid stuff.
All right. Okay. All right.
I feel like we're spending so much time and energy talking about these quarterbacks, specifically Brock and Darnold and Al, excuse me, Trey and Darnold and Allen and stuff. Like the Brock thing to me is the biggest one. Like we're not talking about QB1 enough, and I'm just me. This is just me. I want to see what he looks like, and I'm not saying that they should play him in the preseason. I don't know if you gain a whole lot from a series here or a series there, just handing the ball off. But I'm very intrigued to see what he looks like with this team, and I do think that not having that entire offseason to build synergy with Brandon Ayuk, and now Kittle's hurt and stuff, like I'm worried they're going to start a little slow here. I want to see what it looks like. I'm very excited to see Brock this year.
Well, don't forget, even when things have gone perfectly for the 49ers, they start slow. Kyle Shanahan is 2-4 in week 1 in his career, and the 49ers score less than 17 points a game in week 1 over the Shanahan tenure. So even when everything has been great, they haven't really come out of the gates on fire. That's a totally legitimate question.
He hasn't come out of fire here, Brock Purdy. What are we overlooking this year? Are we overlooking a Nickelback spot? Because we keep talking about quarterbacks. I'm legitimately concerned about the Nickelback spot. You lose K.Y. Williams the year before. You lose Jimmy Ward. Isaiah Oliver has not locked up the spot. He looks a little slow. Maybe he's going to play the big nickel with somebody who is it? Brian Baldinger telling us playing the big nickel against the run. But the Nickelback spot concerns me, Rob. What about you?
Yeah, I think it is concerning because don't forget, Steve Wilkes said that Isaiah Oliver was the best Nickelback on the free agent market. And now here we are less than 2 weeks into the preseason, and Kyle Shanahan says, he's not a guaranteed starter. And they're moving Lenore to the slot and putting Ambry Thomas on the outside yesterday in practice.
Wow.
So you should be worried, and the secondary is definitely a concern for this team.
What's going on with Bosa? Like, honestly, I'm starting to worry because, look at. The Niners have earned the benefit of the doubt. All of the money that they've given everybody else, they've done that, and I don't think we give them enough credit for the amount of guys that they've signed. Yeah, DeForest didn't get signed, but they kept Jimmy Ward, and they kept Armstead. Like, there's an argument there on team building that we can have. But everybody we wanted, they've kept. This thing that it's complicated, are we really going to haggle over a couple of $1 million? Like, is that really what it is? Because I can go back in the history of, like, the Malcolm Smiths and the Jerick McKinnons and the Mike McGlincheys and all these guys that they've given way too much money to. Bosa's worth it. You've known this for, like, 3 years. What is the holdup?
Well, and not only that, but John Lynch has been telling us for 2 years that they've already budgeted for this, right? So that's the weirdest part. If I'm saving up to buy a TV and I've budgeted for it and I have the money for the TV, I don't wait to go buy it. I get my ass in a car and go to Best Buy and bring that sucker home. Like, this is the easiest thing of all time. Bosa writes his number on a slip of paper. He slides it across the table. John Lynch picks it up and says, yes, sir, would you like it in 50s, 100s, or what? I mean, this is ridiculous. Get this guy in. And by the way, there's no other pass rush on this team. Javon Hargrave, okay, but from the edge, there is no other pass rush on this team.
So Rob, Stats on Fire, Guerrera, we love him on this show. ESPN Radio, SB Nation does a great job covering the 49ers. Listen, I'm glad you brought up the other edge rusher because I know Frank Clark had a bit of a history, right? Some of the stuff that the Niners don't like. So I get why they stayed away from him. I was thinking Frank Clark, man, opposite of Nick Bosa, boy, his job will be so easy. One-on-ones off the edge. Yannick Ngakoue down in Chicago. Drake Jackson. It feels like the hype for Drake Jackson has dissipated. What have you heard about Drake Jackson? Is he back on the field? What's up with him?
I haven't heard anything good. I'll tell you that. I haven't heard anything that says he's going to be, the deep forward type of guy that they were hoping for. If anything, I've heard that he's going to be more of a right place, right time kind of pass rusher that sort of benefits from the other stuff that Bosa and Hargrave does. And that's scary to me. And, we keep hearing, like, Super Bowl window, right? Like, that's been the GM of this team has been Super Bowl window. Except they haven't acted like it anywhere except quarterback. If you're in a Super Bowl window, you don't let somebody else sign Yannick Ngakoue. You go add him and bring him onto your team to put the cherry on top and bring this thing home. But they haven't done that. If you're in a Super Bowl window, you don't let Colton McKivitz be your right tackle, a guy that you yourself said wasn't good enough to be on this roster at one point. That Super Bowl window means you don't accept these type of things, and yet the only time we hear about Super Bowl windows, and we're talking about Trey Lance, the other spots on the roster, apparently it doesn't apply.
Man, this offensive line is very intriguing. I can't wait to see it play out. Who are some guys that stuck out for you in this game? I thought the kid Brown, who they drafted from Penn State, was flying around. Jalen Graham moving from safety to linebacker like Fred Warner did. I was really impressed with him. This Deshaun Jameson as a returner. Rat-a-tat-tat, anyone that really piqued your interest from watching that preseason game?
Definitely all of the guys you mentioned. I also think Ronnie Bell, not as a returner. I didn't think he looked anything special as a returner, but as a receiver, I thought Ronnie Bell looked great. If he had held on to that one pass that Brandon Allen threw, I think we would have been really singing his praises. And also, the other guy that I consistently heard good things about is Ty Davis-Price. And Ty Davis-Price looked good. He looked decisive. He was making one cut. He looked elusive. To me, I was super encouraged by that, especially because we can't count on Elijah Mitchell further than we could throw him.
No, I'm with you there. Elijah Mitchell, I told Shasky first day of training camp, I said, Elijah Mitchell might be a candidate to be traded because of the injury history, because he can't stay on the field. Remember last year in Chicago, he got hurt in the first quarter alongside not having George Kittle, which hampered Trey Lance. So
when
people
he's
forget
there,
that.
though, God, he is a good running
He's
back.
good, but I like Jordan Mason, and I think TDP's in great shape here.
I hear you. He is always hurt, though.
Have you read the Tim Kawakami piece in The Athletic about the Q&A and the deal with Shanahan and Phillip Rivers and Jimmy Garoppolo? Because Shasky and I were sitting in the third, fourth row in Philadelphia. We watched Jimmy come on the field. I looked at Shasky and said, boy, it looks like Jimmy doesn't have a lip.
At all.
At all.
He had the Jordans on.
Would Patrick Mahomes be sat out of that game? With Phillip Rivers, who is the topic of conversation, he played on the torn ACL in the AFC Championship game. What did you make of all that, Rob?
Why are we just hearing about it now? That's my problem with the whole thing. And when people feel safe, the truth comes out, right? It's safe to report all this stuff now because Jimmy's gone and it's over. Where the hell was this 6 months ago? Why are we just finding out now that it was so bad between Shanahan and Garoppolo that the team was going to bring back the ghost of Phillip Rivers in the Super Bowl instead of going with Garoppolo? And by the way, how do you think that would have played in the locker room, right?
Yeah.
The locker room had a revolt because Trey Lance was doing the Trey Lance package a couple of years ago. How would they have felt if Jimmy Garoppolo was kept on the sidelines and Phillip Rivers was in the Super Bowl?
Damn.
Unreal. I mean, it really is unbelievable. Does that worry you? I mean, just the relationship between Jimmy and Kyle, the relationship between Kyle and RG3, the relationship between all the quarterbacks Kyle's had outside of his, small stint in Atlanta. It always seems to kind of go awry and quickly. Doesn't that give anybody pause with him and Brock? Because he's hyping up Brock a lot, and I get it. I would do the same thing if that was my dude and he did what he did on film. But boy, I'm just a little worried here.
Kyle Shanahan's a quarterback polygamist. He's never happy with the one he's got. It's unbelievable. And don't forget who Kyle grew up under for a little while. It was John Gruden. He was exactly the same way, always looking for the next quarterback. And we know how tough Kyle can be on quarterbacks. You have to be a certain kind of person mentally, I think, to thrive with Kyle Shanahan.
No doubt. Rob, take care, man. Thank you for the time today. Tell you, it's not the craziest idea. Just sit back, watch how this plays out. If Trey Lance does not make this roster, now he can, but he doesn't play well Saturday, what's better? Play for the Edmonton Eskimos or say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
The Bucks.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know.
Ask anyone who's playing on the Eskimos if they'd rather play for the Bucks in a backup role.
I hear you. You want to get killed by the Bucks, or you're going to win Grey Cups with the Edmonton Eskimos? Rob, take care.
Thanks, guys.
Anytime.
When does that crack come into play for you?